Hello, everybody, and welcome to another video. This is The World According to Lonza, and I am Andrew Lonza. And thank you for joining to make. Thank you for joining me today. And well, today is May the 4th, 2024. So may the force be with you. The fourth be with you. Or what So today is May the 4th, or what many Star Wars fans simply call Star Wars Day, and I'm going to give my reasons why I like all things Star Wars. Now there's been lots of opinions about the current state of Star Wars, so I'm just going to give you my 2 cents. One, it's okay to like or dislike any of the Star Wars films. It seems like the major focus point is when some people agree to like or dislike the quote unquote Disney Star Wars films. And I'm just gonna say it straightforward. I like the Disney Star Wars sequels. I love all things Disney, and I know that there are some legit criticisms of the Disney Star Wars films, but I just don't see them. I mean, there might not be the perfect movies with story, plot line, or maybe there's some um, they don't flow as well with some storylines. But I do not agree with this notion that they destroyed their childhood. It was too woke, etc. It's okay to like or not like a film or even criticize a film, but this is where I have drawn the line is when you're constantly gatekeeping. Gatekeeping is when someone takes it upon themselves to decide who does not have the access rights to a community or an identity. For example, a gatekeeper would be like, "You're not a true fan of the Star Wars films if you like the Disney Star Wars movies, or you're not a real fan. Only a real fan likes the original trilogy, or only a real fan will think that the Empire Strikes Back, or etc. etc." You might happen to you cannot disagree with gatekeepers, and that's why I don't like gatekeepers. So, without further ado, just in my opinion, let me start off by saying I honestly love all things Star Wars. I love that. I like the TV shows, I like the cartoons, I like the prequels, I like the original trilogy, and yes, I like the Disney sequels. It doesn't mean that all the Star Wars movies can compare to the 1977 film, because I don't think anything can compare to that. That was just a phenomenon that I don't think we'll ever get back. But there are flaws in the new films. There's flaws in the prequels. I mean, we had Jar Jar Binks. I mean, how many of y'all like Jar Jar Binks? He's funny, but he probably was so cringe when you first seen him. And even George Lucas, I remember the Star Wars fans hating the Star Wars prequels back then. I remember Star Wars fans hating the sequels now. Not all Star Wars fans, because I see lots of Disney Star Wars fans. There was a husband and wife I saw, and the husband dressed up as Han Solo, and the wife dressed up as Kylo Ren. I thought that was kind of cute. There's lots of interactions with little Rays. So I definitely think the Disney Star Wars, is uh, thriving just as much as anything. So I'm going to focus obviously on the sequel trilogies, and I'm going to give you my top 10 reasons why I love the new trilogy. Since the narrative is that the sequel trilogy sucks and it's no good, especially from the geeks and gamers crowd and some of the anti fandom crowd, or the purist, the Star Wars purist. You hear go to Star Wars Theory. He's a popular Star Wars YouTuber, and he doesn't like the sequels, which you have your own right to your own opinion. So I think I'm going against the grain on the YouTube surface. So I'm going to give you my top 10 reasons why I like the sequels. Number 10. And I'm going to debate some of the common complaints. Common complaints. So number ten. Um, why I like the sequels, the Star Wars sequels. Number 10, it's really good retelling of history. For example, in World War II, America defeated the Nazis. However, that was not the end of dictatorship. We killed Bin Laden. We killed Saddam Hussein. But did that end terrorism? I think not. A lot of people in Star Wars, the first complaint is this a retelling of the original story, which in hindsight, there's a lot of facts to that statement, but it has its own spin. And what I like about the new trilogy is that the First Order is really just like a fanboy club of a wannabe of the Emperor, but it's not as um, not as well organized as the Emperor, and it's probably not as evil as the Emperor. But they still want power. They still want control. They want to be. They kind of use their. They just do everything. They copycat it, but in a sense that makes sense because you see all these groups today that have copied Hitler. Just Google it up, and ask yourself, was Hitler the last dictator? Even though we defeated him, and the Western civilization came back on its feet. Here and there, you see dictator. You see what's going on in North Korea, what's going on in Russia, this and that. That's just one example why we think why I like people say the First Order. Why is that? That's just a copycat of um, the Empire. Well, yeah, it is, but doesn't it makes total sense to me why something like that would come back to the fold if you don't put your strength on the Republic. So I like that the First Order came back. It's a good storytelling to me. Number nine, why I like the sequels. Number nine, why I like the sequels. I love the fact that Kylo Ren in the sequels is emotional and conflicted. I could really relate to Kylo Ren in a way and his power. He might be faking it, and he still loves. See. Here's the hot take. I still think Kylo Ren, if you see the movies, he says he just kind of disowned his parents because he Luke he thought Luke was going to kill him and blah 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 blah, and he's kind of like an insecure kid for blaming all his emo um, problems with that his parents were not good parents. But deep down inside, I think he still loves and has respect for his parents. I think he's just so drawn to the dark side, or once he thinks the dark side is like cool. I really go off the idea that he thinks the dark side is the way to go for him to be successful. Just like that person who's like, I'm willing to do whatever it takes in Hollywood, or whatever it takes in government, or whatever it takes in business, or whatever it takes. Even if you have to sell your souls, as what they may think. I think he's just so passionate or so obsessed with being successful that he doesn't always know that he is actually has light side in him. So I like Kylo Ren's beginning arc. You could tell from the first movie. Even a lot of fans didn't like that he took off his mask. I like that he took off his mask. It shows his vulnerability, that he's just some broken down young person who has conflicting sides of, you know, he's called to the dark side, but he's still technically a solo. So Kylo Ren is really a good character, and that's number nine. I want to talk more about him. Number eight, I love Finn's story. Most people that like the sequels have said, oh, they don't like they like the potential of Finn, but they don't like how it goes because he it's not always explained well. But I love Finn's initial story of being a stormtrooper and flipping to the to saying I don't want anything with this first order. I'm a ex stormtrooper. All he wants to do is be a good person, and I love that for Finn. And yes, that's the one criticized. The thing they maybe didn't hit the mark with Finn's story. He did go back and fight what's her face. Um, I just think that the movie should have explained a little bit more of Finn's story. You see Finn in the background, and yes, there's behind the scenes stuff with China and all that stuff, the posters with racial stuff you could get into about um, Finn. Finn's character was shrinking on the poster in China, and of course that wasn't right. But in hindsight, I think Finn had really good potential. I like that he liked Rose. I love that Rose saved him because, in the end of the day, I think Star Wars is about saving the ones you love. Even though people might disagree with this, and this was probably my only hard take, I think Finn he really wanted to sacrifice himself for the resistance or do something good for the resistance, but he didn't know what he had. And at the end of the day, it's about your family and your friends. And I know Rose Tico probably probably felt that she didn't deserve his love or whatever, or wasn't legitimate. I thought she really did love him, and I think Finn is a good person. So that's number 8. Um, Number 7. This is more of the technical sides of why I like the Disney trilogy compared to all the trilogies. Well, the first trilogy, the original trilogy, had practical effects. Not so much the prequels. The prequels was lots of CGI and lots of um, background effects. There was some practical effects, real costumes, and the prequels had they were really doing a little fake sword fight and whatnot. And there were some locations that were real, like Italy. They filmed a lot of the prequels in Italy, I think. But for the most part, there's lots of CGI, probably overdone CGI, lots of blue screens, green screens, etc., etc. In the sequel trilogy, I know for a fact they really did rebuild a legit Millennium Falcon. The ships that you see on the ground, like if you go to Disneyland and you see the Millennium Falcon and you see the set, the kind of like set of Galaxy's Edge at Disneyland, the Galaxy's Edge, you can see how it's so cool to see a replica of a X-wing right in front of you, or kind of around the ship. I just know for a fact that they had more physical sets, real locations, and realism. Of course, they used CGI and a lot of stuff too, but the sequels did take advantage of practical effects. Now, number 6. Number 6. This is my most hardcore take, and most people that have a problem with the sequel trilogy do not like the idea that they killed off the heroes, like Han Solo and Luke Skywalker and Princess Leia. All of them died. Spoilers alert. But I felt it was necessary killing Han Solo in The Force Awakens. His death was tragic, but it was a very beautiful moment with the music and stuff. He loved his son so much. He loved Kylo Ren that he didn't care what happened to him. It was his last chance to have a father and son moment. And I'm telling you, this is like the reverse of Abraham in the Bible. He was supposed to sacrifice his son, but God told him not to, or did, or I have to freshen up my Bible study. But um, Kylo Ren, I know he's conflicted. on killing his dad to gain more power and get him closer to being the Sith Lord, which he ended up did doing. But I know he hated that decision. See, in the way by him killing Han Solo, Kylo Ren was even weaker. With the light side, of course, but stronger with the dark. But still, um, in my opinion, it was a necessary sacrifice that Kylo Ren thought he had to make, but not necessarily one that he wanted to. You watch the end of the trilogy, I think it explains it all. I do know that Han Solo loved the son, and I think deep down inside Kylo Ren did too, but he was just willing to take the ultimate sacrifice. He was just naive and nuts. He was just trying to be evil. But um, trying to gain power through the darkness, because only cis 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 only think in black and white terms. They only think of you are either my friend or my enemy. And since Han Solo was still was a rebel, to quote speak, he was on the wrong side of politics. So it was father versus son. And even though I don't think he necessarily that was the choice. The dark side kind of forced him to do it. People might think that's a hot take. You might think that's a bunch of baloney, but I think that's a pretty cool scene. Let me know in the comments if you think that's a cool scene. That mean it was a powerful scene at least. All right, number five. That was number 6. All right, we're already at 5. 5. Rey, in my opinion, starts off very weak, and she has a good heart and willingness, and she just wants to be a good person, and she wants to find her identity. Of course, she has called to she has Jedi, like the Force calls to her to do good things, and it calls to Finn a little bit too, but it calls probably a little bit more to Rey. Rey is obviously your Luke Skywalker character, and what people will not understand, I think Rey is just way more force sensitive. That's why she can do certain things. We remember Empire Strikes Back. People always say, "Well, Rey is what is Rey?" People always say, "Rey is a um, just an all-powerful woman without learning responsibility." Um, she doesn't have. She didn't deserve her powers. She just got it because she's a female. And blah 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 blah. But if you think about from my point of view, is that Rey, like Luke, is like the Force is speaks to her, chose her on purpose. Kind of like how God speaks to Moses in like the Bible. I use the Bible for a lot of comparison. And Zeus speaks to his children in Greek mythology. The Force just chose Rey, just like it chose Luke, just like it chose Anakin. Um, that's my 2 cents. And remember, Luke didn't have any training in Empire Strikes Back. In Empire Strikes Back, when Luke was on Hoth and he was upside down, sitting with his, getting ready to be eaten by, I forget what those creatures are called, by, getting ready to get eaten. Luke is frozen upside down, and he starts to reach for what? His lightsaber. And he doesn't have any training. Just like Rey, he just had a little bit of training with Obi-Wan Kenobi. in episode 4. He had a little bit of training in New Hope, but just like a little bit. Because he learned about the Force, he learned about the lightsaber, he learned about a little bit about what the Force means, and he had a little bit of practice. I mean, but then when Emperor Strikes Back happens, he feels the Force, and he just gets the lightsaber. Just like Rey kind of fears the Force in the first movie. I think it's the same kind of concept, and I like it. I believe in it. All right, number 4. Number 4. I love the beginning of Kylo Ren. I love the idea that he's forgetting the past. It's like those people in today's society that say, man, we don't need any more political systems. We don't need no more bipartisan systems. We don't need any more Democrats, and we don't need any more Republicans. We need independence in the White House. A lot of people would like an independent. Let's have a clean slate. Let's have no more party system. No more two party system. Let's have a clean slate. And I think that's what Kylo Ren's trying to tell, or dares to tell Rey in The Last Jedi. Forget the Jedi. Forget the Jedi. Forget the Sith. Forget it all. Of course, he has romantic feelings for. It's kind of like a Romeo and Juliet. He doesn't have romantic undertones, unlike kind of like Vader, except for the difference from Vader and Luke is not father and son. It's kind of like Romeo and Juliet. Boy, light side boy, dark side girl. Um, and I like the idea in Last Jedi of forgetting your past. We all want to forget our past. We all messed up in our past. And we have dark thoughts, dark ideas. And the whole history of the Jedi and the whole history of the Sith. Kylo is just saying, hey, the whole entire Jedi and the whole entire Sith had both messed up, both effed up so bad. Let's just forget it. It's not forgetting about the lore, whatever. They just want. Kylo Ren is telling Rey, let's just start anew. And of course, he might be tricking her to join the dark side, but that's what he's wanting, and I like that idea. Okay, number 3. I love the idea from this is from Rise of Skywalker. I love the idea that he hates the Empire. He's heartbroken in Rise. He has one mission to destroy the past, literally, and he only does it is through strength. So that's the third idea. The fourth, and the third is almost the same idea. Number 2, what I like about the sequel trilogies, I always thought that the Emperor is more like Satan than a clone or human, or the Emperor to me is all like the ultimate dark side. People go, oh, it's stupid that some people go, it's stupid that they brought the Emperor back. Granted, maybe that wasn't the plan, but the idea that he couldn't come back from clones, even though the entire clone, he created a whole army through clones, and the idea that he's so strong with the Force that he's almost invincible. Like his physical body can die, but his spiritual body lives on. Palpatine's all about his ideas, and he's all about his he wants to rule the galaxy with his evil identity, with his evil. He's a spiritual force, not a physical force, and I totally could buy the idea that it's possible for him to come back. Was that the best choice? It's up for you guys to debate, but he was the ultimate bad guy. And what I also liked about in Rise of Skywalker is that people think it's just a Mary Sue. That was the name I was thinking. People think Rey was a Mary Sue, and she had to win it by herself, and this was supposed to be Luke winning. But remember, Rey had to summon all the ex-Jedi. It was Luke, Qui-Gon Jinn, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Yoda, Mouse Windu, Anakin Skywalker, light side Anakin Skywalker. Every Jedi that ever did exist was summoned into Rey as one identity, one person. She just was just a physical body. And with Kylo Ren's everybody, she used, it wasn't her defeating ultimate defeating Palpatine. She was having all the Force spirits within her as one bond to defeat. So in a way, Luke still killed Palpatine. People don't see that. Luke killed Palpatine. Um, it was Anakin killed Palpatine again. Darth Vader killed Palpatine again. It was just like one last final battle between good and evil. Between good and evil. I'll say that again. Between the light side and the dark side. And the light side won. The positivity won. It was just through Rey that she just kind of prayed. It's almost like, well, it's almost like I guess you could say like a female Virgin Mary or something like that. She prayed to the light side, and maybe the dialogue wasn't all that great because Star Wars dialogue is pretty fast. And she said, I can't remember whatever she said, but that was the idea. And I think you're missing the point if you think just Rey, as herself, as a Mary Sue, was the person defeating evil. Because Rey she didn't defeat the Emperor. It was all the Jedi together. And I think that's very important. And I think that's what I really like about the Rise of Skywalker. And number one, what I liked about the Disney trilogy, I love the Reylo, man. I love the Reylo, and I love its light side, dark side, love, sex, kissing, coming together, and becoming one unity. And you might think it's cheesy, but I mean it's emo puppy love, the bad guy, but it's typical love, man. It's the guy from Broadside of the Tracks meeting up with the girl from the Broadside. I don't know, the pretty girl or whatever. It's just kind of awesome Broadside of the Tracks too. And the last thing I'll say I like about this trilogy is that it's trying to set the idea that the Sith has forever been, until now, forever been destroyed. And I like that Rey adapted the Skywalker name. Look, if I was like Hitler's grandson, I probably wouldn't want my last name to be Hitler. Just saying. Even though her last name is with Palpatine, and you can use that for people have a good point. Maybe you can use that Palpatine name for good instead of evil. She was adopted. Adopted. I don't know how hard that is to find, which is powerful. She chose the light, and she chose to rise up as at the end when she let Skywalker home, Skywalker, and she's going to rebuild the temple in the future Rey movie. Let's hope. All that good stuff. She turned away from Palpatine, her name, and that legacy, and erased it. She chose to be a Skywalker. And I think that's pretty cool. And that is powerful to me. So those are 10 reasons why I like the Disney trilogy. I hope you like my video. At the end of the day, I like all things Star Wars, from the TV shows to the movies. I like to watch my Star Wars movies in chronological order. So I'm not watching any Star Wars until I like it. Um, the newest Star Wars movie called Lack-A-Like. It's hard to pronounce for me. I have a little bit of tongue tie. But that's like pre-sequel. Prequel. The beginning of the Jedi New Republic, and I'm looking forward to that. See how Darth Sidious hopefully comes along. All right, guys. Happy May 4th. I hope hopefully your May 4th was fun with you and your loved ones. Um, like I said, it's good to agree or disagree, but just love Star Wars. And I would talk to you guys later. I hope you all have a good day and good night. And this is the World According to Lonza, and I am Andrew Lonza. And good night, everybody. Bye.